This is a Film Stories original podcast.
When you make decisions for your company, you always look for the no-brainers. And if you have a lot of mailing and shipping to do, Stamps.com is the ultimate no-brainer. It streamlines your process to make your business more efficient, which makes you less busy. Mail checks, invoices, legal documents, books, and everything you need to keep your business running with Stamps.com. Seamlessly connect with every major marketplace and shopping cart if you sell online. Schedule package pickups through the dashboard and automatically see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers, with rates up to 89% off USPS and UPS rates. And with the Stamps.com mobile app, you can take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go. Make the same no-brainer decision as over 1 million other business decision makers with Stamps.com. Sign up at Stamps.com with code PROGRAM for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. That's Stamps.com, code PROGRAM.
We made this.
Welcome back everyone to the X-Cast. The truth is in here. This is our special Fight the Future Minute podcast. I'm Tony Black again, and you are listening to our coverage of minute 13 of the X-Files Fight the Future. This minute begins at exactly 12 minutes as Special Agent in Charge Darius Michaud looks across the rooftops, and ends at 12 minutes 59 seconds with Scully in the middle of explaining what terrorism is to Mulder, basically. And to discuss this minute, I'm once again joined by one of our X-Cast patrons and recurring guest, Cortlan Waters Bartley. Welcome back again, Cortlan. We're in the thick of Dallas now.
Yeah, hi Tony. It's good to be back in the heat of Dallas.
In the heat.
The heat.
Yeah. Because we're getting there. We're getting there with the heat because we're heading onto the roof because, as we say, we've got Michaud still looking out at who we will come to see is very soon is Scully. But I think I like the shot here actually because the helicopter, presumably the helicopter that's now took off, the one who dropped him, is now taking off and flying away, and the camera tracks around with him to sort of a side-on view of Michaud. And you see more of his face. And we talked about in the last episode how there's a hint that there's something that he's not happy with what he's seen. I thought that was a really inventive sort of shot there that sort of establishes him.
Yeah, I think it's really nice. I mean, I think it just kind of continues that idea where obviously his attention is focused on this mystery person on the rooftop, and like we're supposed to be thinking like who is that, and then also what is he doing, because they direct our attention, back to his expression. And I think that's, clearly pointing us to something's going on with this guy. Yeah.
Because you wouldn't hold that, would you, for that long, or you wouldn't do that kind of camera move unless you were trying to visually indicate that something's odd, something's not quite right here, and we will come to that soon. But the rest of the minute, it takes us to Scully for the first time. Woohoo! Yes. First appearance of Scully and Gillian Anderson.
And we get a Mulder, it's me. It's the best.
We do get
the best introduction. Thank goodness.
Yeah, that's the first line, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's her first line of the film. Mulder, it's me.
Mulder, it's me.
As she uses her classic old cell phone with that one of those poke-out aerials. Classic late 90s. Whenever I see this, it just astonishes me like how far we've come in as we record, 21 years. I mean, do you remember those phones?
I do. I remember having a phone, a flip phone, with a little antenna that you have to pull.
Yeah.
I had one. I remember it. Really vividly.
Yeah, one of the little flip phones. Yeah. Did you ever have one of the Matrix phones? You know, the ones where they at the bottom? Where they flipped at the bottom?
I did not. Nope. I was not that cool.
Well, nor were we who had one. Like we thought we were Neo, but we weren't fooling anybody. But they were like the height of sleek, weren't they? At like 1999, everyone was like, yeah, Neo flip phone.
Yeah.
None of these aerial phones that they'd had, because obviously the Matrix would be the year after Fight the Future. But anyway, this isn't Matrix Minute. This is X-Files Minute. I wonder if there is a Matrix Minute. There's got to be a Matrix Minute out there, hasn't there?
Surely.
I need to find that, really. I bet they do like whole minutes on the phone, don't they?
I mean,
when they've run out of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, but they also probably have to do like whole minutes on like the slow mo, like dodging.
Yeah.
Just imagine those are really long sequences. So
Maybe they slow down. Maybe they start talking like, maybe just to match the visuals. Anyway, going wildly off tangent. Yes. Anyway, Scully's here and she's on the phone to Mulder, and I quite like the way this is all staged, because what they could have done obviously was just introduce Mulder and Scully like they would normally, where in an episode, you know, they might be driving in a car, or they might be getting to a crime scene, or you know, or in an office of some kind, and Scully comes in and Mulder's there, you know. But they don't do that, do they? It's Scully on her own. She's talking to him over the phone. And what do you think about this? I think this feels like an intentional way of sort of keeping him and allowing him more of an entrance.
yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely true. I like that we get to see them individually first, and I kind of think that they do a good job here making it so that if you had no idea somehow who Dana Scully was, you're gonna get the picture pretty right away. She's clearly here doing something that and she's not quite sure why, but she's doing it obviously because Mulder asked her to, and she's gonna argue with him about it the whole time, even as she does it. So I think that's a pretty good, really quick summary of what Scully is doing, you know, as a character.
I think they're both really well written in this scene, this rooftop scene that starts on the phone and then, as we'll talk about, ends up with Mulder coming in. But I think they really do immediately sort of sound like their characters. I think the movie was working hard, wasn't it, at this point, to sort of, because obviously this film was trying to cater for non-fans as well. You know, it was trying to draw in people who were just going to turn up for the movies. You know, it's a Friday night, they want to go to see a movie. Oh, I've heard, what's the X-Files? Yeah, I'll go. So they need to introduce, don't they, Mulder and Scully as sort of archetypes and characters, regardless of whether we know all the 5 years backstory. It feels like they do that well.
I did write down somewhere in her little, I guess, monologue there, she does use the word rational at least twice in like one one stretch, and I'm like, yeah, well, there you go. That's clearly intentional.
That's classic Scully.
Yeah, in terms of introducing her character and perspective. But I didn't even though I knew all the 5 years of history before, I didn't feel bored by that. I was just like, there goes Scully again.
Yeah, I think it's well constructed, and I always feel like Gillian and David do a really good job, because they're sort of acting ahead of themselves in this, because the movie was filmed in between seasons 4 and 5. So they had to sort of be a season ahead of their characters were, in a way. They went back and they filmed season 5 after this. So before this, they would have filmed probably Gethsemane. So that's Scully dying of cancer and Mulder shooting himself in the head.
Oh, man.
So they have to flip from that straight to a year later. They're off the X-Files. Like, they're both fine.
They're both combing the building for a bomb. Totally average day.
Under the hot sun, which they never got in Vancouver. So I think that's impressive that they have to sort of snap. They have to sort of change their headspace as an actor from where they would have been chronologically in the show. Yeah,
that is. As you watch, I always manage to forget that they have obviously filmed this out of order by necessity, right? But because I think when you watch the show, season 4 and 5, they look very good in season, and I think they look very good in the movie too. And obviously they were getting ready to do the movie and thinking about the big screen, and then having had that experience, they come back and are also really good, you know, in season 5. But when I'm watching it, I just sort of I forget that they've obviously done all of this all out of order.
Which I think is a testament to how well it's done, actually. Because you wouldn't know. And if you didn't know some of that backstory, you wouldn't know any different, really. Because they do look, they, like you say, they look really good. And I think it was one of those things where I always remember Chris Carter, when he's interviewed, he was saying it was when they screened Dwayne Barry on a big screen, like in 1994, that he knew that they would work as a movie characters. That he knew that the canvas was big enough for a cinematic lens. And I think you straight away, once you see Scully and then Mulder soon, you know that they are movie stars.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just TV actors.
Oh, yeah.
And it could have been. I mean, sometimes you watch a TV show and if you thought about putting them on a big screen in the same way, it wouldn't work. But with these two, like, wow, they fit, don't they? Straight away.
Definitely, right away. And I think that also, like we said, they've established this character, and it's obviously fine. I think it works really well. I think they did a really good job making that transition, even out of order.
Like you say, she's in this phone conversation. She's being led by Mulder, isn't she? In that he's saying, look, search this building. Don't worry about the one that all the other FBI agents are at. And she's there. It's great because it's essentially like a monologue in a way, isn't it? Yeah. He chips in occasionally, but it's sort of like a Scully monologue where she's explaining terrorism to him and saying, usually when a bomb threat is called in, there's not actually a bomb, or or the idea is that they will defuse it in time.
Well, and that is maybe for people who are familiar with the show, you're kind of like, didn't Mulder work for violent crimes for a long time? Like, isn't he really good at this sort of thing? But okay, well, just go with it.
I think if this and like episodes like Drive teach us anything, Mulder is he's wasted on domestic terrorism. Like he's really bad at that. He's not a good FBI agent hunting domestic terrorists. He doesn't give a shit. He wants to be looking for aliens, and he wants to be looking for mysteries. But I think it's good because I think Scully, like, pointing this out as well, sort of establishes the stakes as well, doesn't it? In that, they're on a building and there's an FBI manhunt going on, but you don't, you sort of get the idea of what's happening, but at the same time you don't. And I think her pointing out that a bomb threat's been called, it's a good way of getting across information to the audience as well, while also showing you Scully's character and Mulder's character. It's very clever.
Yeah, I think it fits. So it's such a good intro into what they're going to do for the rest of the film and maybe for the rest of the series too. But like they set them up really well.
Apparently though, this was really hard to cut when they were cutting the film. This whole sequence of her walking around all these sort of rooftop bits, they said it was just a nightmare to edit. And I'm not quite sure why. I think maybe it was because of the sun glare at one point, and then maybe they realised she wasn't sort of going anywhere as she was walking around. She's sort of going in a circle.
Like, what is she looking at?
This is going to look weird.
Is there a bomb?
Why is she just walking around in a circle? But yeah, they found that tricky, which is interesting because they didn't choose to shoot this like on a soundstage or anything. They chose to shoot this on a roof, a genuine roof in LA. So they would have had certain restrictions, I think, for how it looked. But in a scene which is all about just conveying information, it's not such a big deal, is it? You're more just focused on Scully and what she's saying, I think, in this.
I'm not sure what she's looking for on the roof. I'm not sure what the value of hiding the bomb on the roof would be, but I understand she has to look. She's not looking very hard.
You wonder if Mulder just said, just go and look on the roof. I'd sometimes think he's just playing, he's just having fun. Like, he wants to get her on the roof so he can make like a ta-da kind of intro, And he's just messing with her. He knows that she'll do it because she trusts him and he's usually right. So he'll go, just go up there, Scully, look for that.
Well, and I kind of, she says that she's climbed up 12 floors. And so did she look at all of those? Was she searching all 12 of those floors too?
Yeah.
And then finally was she finished on the roof, I guess. What was he doing?
He got the lift, and he's just on the roof eating sunflower seeds. And he's like, Scully, you haven't done floor 10. Go back. And she's there. She can, if she's done 12 floors, she looks good.
Yeah.
Like, in that heat, I would have got to the roof, and I'd be a sweaty mess. Like, she looks like she's just come out of like a shoot, like a fashion shoot.
Look, Gillian Anderson never looks like a mess, even when she is clearly a mess. She never looks like a mess.
She just looks permanently amazing.
Yep.
Or maybe I hadn't picked up on the 12 floors thing, so maybe that's... Yeah, maybe she's just been traipsing around while he's just been up, checking out the view, enjoying the sun. Yeah, that's such a Mulder thing. I bet he has. So anyway, this minute ends roughly with them in the middle of this conversation with Scully talking about the point of terrorism, to invoke terror, and that it's important to follow rules and such. But yeah, so we're in the middle of it as she talks. So that's it for this minute of Fight the Future Minute. Thank you for listening again, everybody. Cortlan, you're going to be back for minute 14 for the rest of this conversation and finally seeing Mulder as opposed to hearing him on the phone. So that'll be good.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Okay, so until our next minute, guys, thanks for listening, and remember, trust no one. Previously on the We Made This Network. Pick a disc.
Particularly last night as well, so I did a late night run to IKEA to get... because it...
I would imagine it's probably quite good running music.
Possibly, but I don't actually listen to music when I'm running.
Fair
I'm not ran my running dipped a lot.
Not run at all.
Yeah, but for the in terms of driving up the M5/M6,
yeah,
it's atmospheric music. It's very atmospheric, like particularly if you're going at the speed limit.
You can't go at the speed limit on the M5. Always roadworks. Actually, I haven't driven on it for ages because it's always roadworks. It might be clear now.
The time is now. A Millennium podcast.
I remember Lance came by and picked me up to go to that. And as I was walking out to the car, we were meeting out at the car, and he saw someone's wallet, that somebody had lost their wallet. It was lying on the ground. And Lance, was ready to put the whole thing. I mean, we were, I think we might have even been kind of running late for this thing, and we really needed to get on the road and get downtown and get to this convention. But, he picked it up, and he wasn't going to go until we could kind of figure out whose wallet it was and how to get it back to them and all of this. And he just, because he saw it, he took ownership of that moment.
Without a mouse.
This week I have a very special guest. She is the co-host of the Tomorrowland Transit Authorities, one of my favourite podcasts, and she is also on YouTube with the channel Ivy Winter. It is Christine. Hello.
Hi, thank you for having me.
This episode's not going up till near the end of April.
Well, by that time I'll have already been reasonable, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, we both will, because I'll be back by then, if the coronavirus hasn't closed the park down.
I think Mickey will persevere. I think we'll be all right.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.